and thank you for tuning in to the Rangers Rabble. Before we get to the content, I would just like to let you know about a brand new sponsor that we have, Rangers Pools. For every £1 that you spend, you help support the building of the new Edmiston House. And if you sign up with the code Rangers Rabble Podcast, you're also helping the podcast as well. So, Wolf, I know that you've used Rangers Pools before.
I have indeed, Martin. I use it every week. I've got two lines on the direct debit. I play every week. It's very easy to navigate. You just go on, make yourself an account, go onto the pools page. You can either do it weekly or, as I do, just with a standing order of numbers. It's from memory. I think it's 10. The first 10 games you think are going to be score draws in the coupon every week. But football's that random. I just said, right, that'll be 10 numbers. That'll be 10 numbers. There's my £2 every week, and let's just see what happens.
We'll see, there you go. So it's dead easy to use. And of course, if you do sign up in the support of branch agency, if you just put in Rangers Rabble Podcast, you're helping support Rangers, support the building of the new Edmiston House, but you're also helping to support the Rangers Rabble Podcast. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the content. Do you know, I don't know why I shaved. You know, I thought I looked better with a big puffy beard. Hello and welcome along to live match reaction here on the Rangers Rabble. And straight away, good evening to you as well, CGM. I'm Martin Douglas and I'm joined by Alan and Wolf. Gentlemen, hello, good evening. How are we?
Good evening.
Hi, all right, fine.
How are you, podcaster of the year?
I still demand a recount of all the boys drug tested. That's ridiculous. But I would like to thank all the lads for that tremendous honour, and I'll collect my trophy off you on Saturday.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even get one vote. Not one. Anyway.
You can vote for yourself?
No, I wasn't allowed. I made the rules. I don't know why. I should have voted for myself. But we're here to talk about the game tonight, gents. 3-0 away to Livingston, which is actually, in context, a very good result, considering the games we've had there in the past, Alan. And it was, I suppose, overall, it was pretty easy, wasn't it?
Aye. As we were talking about earlier, I was trying to pick something out that you could come on and say, you know, we could have improved in this could have been better, he could have been better in this position. But, you know, a game where there wasn't much for us to play with other than this unbeaten run. A few players were injured. Livingston could have made it really difficult for us if they wanted to be more physical. But they weren't. It was quite a professional performance for us. We did need to go to second gear. And we got a reward with the 3 goals.
I don't know how many times have we said that this year, Wolf, we haven't had to get out of second gear, and we most certainly didn't the night.
No, it was an absolute breeze. Probably the most comfortable we've been at Livingston in a very, very long time. It was for a while at the start of the second half. It looked like it was a training game between attackers and defenders. They just sat in, we passed it about, gave them it back, they gave us it back. It was so easy. It was good to see. But having said that, a couple of really good goals. You know, so we did okay without sort of overexerting myself, and roll on Saturday.
Roll on Saturday, but can we just discuss, and look, this gets discussed every single time we play Hamilton or Kilmarnock or Livingston, and I know that it's old news, blah, 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 but Alan, that pitch is absolutely dreadful.
Aye, it's dreadful. We've seen players, not just Rangers players, we've seen players for other clubs as well getting injured in these parks. Probably the most famous one for us would be Jamie Murphy at Kilmarnock. They need to do something about it at this level of the game. It's not acceptable that professional football clubs, I can understand why they're doing it, they're cheap, they can rent them out, they can use them, but professional football clubs at this level shouldn't be playing plastic pitches. It's one of my concerns actually about the Colt teams going to play in the Lowland League as well. You know, our players are going to be playing in these plastic pitches more frequently, and you just worry about some of the injuries that might get picked up.
It's more from me, Wolf, you know, because if you take the injury debate, there's not a lot in it between grass and plastic, right? But you can't, I mean, we did at times tonight play some decent football, but it ruins the spectacle of the game for me. And if you've got anybody from down south watching that, that's just embarrassing.
I mean, at this level, we've said it ad infinitum that it's ridiculous. that at this level they've got plastic pitches. They're not even good pitches. I mean, that thing's an absolute riot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even in the first minute tonight, when Ryan Kent injured himself on it in the first minute tonight, just whether he turned his ankle or whatever happened. I mean, that could have been a really serious injury, and the ball bobbled away from folk. And as Tom Miller said in the commentary on Rangers TV, which I was watching from my holiday home in Germany.
Would you come back and conquer?
Kemar Roofs, leave my nose out of this way. Kemar Roofs get down the left, and he says that the pitch beat him more than the tackle did. You know what I mean? The pitch is an absolute riot, and they shouldn't be. If they can't get a grass pitch, then I'm sorry, they shouldn't be playing at this level. Quite simple.
I know, but in saying all that, Wolf, Michelle Charlotte, do you know, he told me how to say it. I can't remember it. If you're at Ibrox on Saturday, Michael, going to search me out so I can find out how to say it properly. Anyway, that's the best I've seen us on that pitch. Not that we were great, but there was some nice football at times, and I think that's right, Wolf. I think that is the best that we've looked at the, what's it called, the Toni Macaroni?
The spaghetti head.
Yeah. Spaghetti head, that's it.
It is the best we've played on it, but it's also, to me, the least they've tried to mix it up. I mean, they defended like they always defend, but they weren't throwing themselves into tackles like they normally do. Normally, they try and drag us down into a battle when we play there, and it wasn't a battle tonight because they've got less to play for than we have. I mean, we've still got something on the line, which is we're unbeaten record and 100 points. They've got absolutely nothing to play for at all. So they had no need to be physical. There was no point in Livingston players endangering their summer holidays by getting injured. No, I'm not saying they didn't try, but they didn't throw themselves into tackles as much as you usually expect them to when it's when they're fighting for something. So that helped us because it gave us a chance to actually play some football.
No, that's a fair point. And we've got we didn't see a minute of the game, so I'm here to find out all. You're on the Rang channel if you want to find out exactly what happened in the game, Aldo. That's all I'm going to say. And we've got CGM. I'm just back in the door from my Amsterdam penthouse. I think there's quite a lot of folk probably just back in the door for their Amsterdam penthouse. But Alan, the first half, I suppose the best way to sum it up before we come to the goal was we had most of the ball. But, I mean, you could have slept through most of the first half and nothing really happened.
Yeah, we had the possession. We moved it a bit well at times, but there wasn't a lot happening, like you said. I think Tavernier had a cross into the box. I tried to pick out a reboot at the back post, never met him. I think that was probably the most exciting thing that happened. Even not just up to that point, but throughout the game, there wasn't really any controversial incidents. So you can't, slate the referee's performance like we did last time we were there. There wasn't a lot happened up until Angie won us the penalty. And
a clear penalty, Wolf. You're not going to see a more clearer penalty than that. The goalkeeper totally wiped him out, man.
Even Don Robertson couldn't not give that. I mean, that was the penaltiest penalty you'll ever see. I'm actually surprised he didn't put the keeper off, because you could argue the keeper could have walked for that because he made no attempt to play the ball, which is what the rules are. But that would, in the referee's defence, which I don't do very often, that would have spoiled the game. And a yellow card was probably right. I mean, my only complaint with the referee tonight was the early yellow card for Simpson, because I don't see how that was a yellow card. But he gave him it, and that's too cheap. That's 2 cheap yellow cards that Simpson's had in 2 games. I'm just hoping that they're not going to start targeting him. The way they targeted Ryan Jack when he first joined us. Everything he did, he got booked for or sent off for. I'm just hoping that Simpson's not the same. Although to be fair to Jack Simpson, he controlled himself well after that. And again, the same as the Celtic game, didn't give the referee a chance to send him off.
No, well, look, I mean, Tav stuck the penalty away. Fantastic penalty, has to be said, right in the corner. Goalkeeper was never getting there. But Alan, just on Simpson, we were having a quick chat before we came on. The very early stages against Jet, he looked a bit suspect, but then after that, kind of got his composure and kind of sailed through the game.
I think the big guy they've got up front, Jet, he's a physical player. He's a big laddie. We've not seen much of Simpson. When we did see him against Celtic, he never really had much of a competition, especially physically up front. To say that Celtic game was a competitive game is a stretch of the imagination. So up against it tonight. It was up against a big physical lad. So can we criticise him that it took him 10, 15 minutes to settle into it? No, I don't think so. I think he done well. You know, and in hindsight, once you get a couple of minutes to think about it, I think Simpson done well. He settled into the game. My confidence is building in him anyway. Look forward to seeing him next season once he gets a good pre-season under his belt with us.
I suppose that's what we've got to remember, Wolf. He's not really had much of a pre-season. He doesn't really know the Scottish game. But CGM has put in, well, Simpson looks very good in the ball, but tries to be a wee bit too clever sometimes. Do you agree with that?
I do, yeah. I mean, he does look very comfortable on the ball, but to me, he seems to hold on to it till the very last second, and then, you know, I don't know whether he's trying to make a fool of the attacker by just nicking the ball past him. And it wouldn't surprise me if he got caught out. And you know what the Rangers supporter are like. We don't hold back. We would absolutely slaughter him if he did something like that, even if it were 4 or 5 up at the time. So he needs to start getting rid of the ball a bit quicker. Whether he's not got the speed of thought for our game at the moment because he's not used to the pace of it. But he does. He seems really comfortable on the ball. But to me, he holds on to it just a split second too long at times.
Well, we've actually got a question in here, Alan, for Thomas. He says, is Big Simpson an upgrade on Katic or Edmondson? Difficult question to answer simply because he's just in the door, but for what you've seen, is he an upgrade?
What I've seen, you're right, it's too early. I think it's too early to call. It'd be easy to sit here and say he's an upgrade for Edmondson because we've not seen Edmondson this season, but you know, Edmondson had a couple of good games last season. You know, I think there was one game in particular in Europe where he stood out for me. I can't remember if it was Braga or where no. So you know, he's had good games for us, so I don't want to criticise him too much. Katic again was another one that was really coming into a game for me before the injury in pre-season, so we'll wait and see what he's like. So I think it's too early to tell, but possibly the signs are good so far. I think so. You know, it possibly could be an upgrade, but it's too early to commit to anything like that, I'd say.
Aye, probably. And we'll come to more individual performances a wee bit later on, but Wolf, into the second half, not too long into the second half, another one of those kind of trademark chip long ball passes for Tav, and probably one of the best 1-2s I've seen for a long time for that second goal.
Oh, it was just a tremendous goal. I mean, it was an absolutely tremendous goal. I mean, a lot of strikers would have tried to put that in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
No, you know, instead of squaring it back across the 6-yard box. You know, so I thought just overall, I thought it was just a fabulous goal. Really, really good goal.
And that killed the game, Alan, didn't it? That was a game dead after that.
Yeah. What I noticed was we tried to this long ball over the top a couple of times in the first half as well. We're trying to beat the offside trap. Once we beat it, we stopped. We didn't need to beat it again. And that sort of told me that the foot was off the gas and the game was finished in the eyes of the players. And you can see why we're up to nothing away from home against a team that's no got anything to play for. The game was done and dusted there and then.
I don't know if the foot was ever really on the gas. I suppose. But listen, John McLaughlin came in. Nice to see John getting a wee start. Didn't really have much to do.
As I predicted in the pre-match, you'll remember.
That's why you're podcaster of the year, Wolf. We know why.
Set that one up for you, mate. Feed that one up for you.
And Wolf, I suppose, look, he didn't really have much to do. The only thing I can remember for the game that he had to do really was, I think the ball hit the bar or something, and he had to get up really, really quickly to punch it away. I think that was really the only thing McLaughlin had to do.
Yeah, that was it. That and laugh at the boy that missed from 8 yards with an open goal.
I know.
How he missed that, I've got no idea. But no, that was really all McLaughlin had to do, and he did it really well. I mean, he came up through a sea of bodies when the ball came back off the bar, and he got rid of it. And you can't argue it with another clean sheet. I mean, that's something like 10 or 11 clean sheets, and he's only played 13 or 14 games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, that's to have 2 goalkeepers in your team that have got double figures of clean sheets is just tremendous. It's just another great start to our season.
Well, actually, Alan, fair point for CGM. None of a photo this. He says McLaughlin is far superior to McGregor with the ball at his feet. Makes sense to play him on that pitch. Do you think that's why Gerrard done it, or do you think it was just a case of arrest for McGregor?
I think it was a combination of a number of things. If you go back to early on in the season when McGregor was coming back for injury, Gerrard says McLaughlin was going to play. He was going to get game time. He'll obviously want to get into the Euro squad, so he's maybe, him and Gerrard have maybe spoken about it and says you're going to get some game time to the end of the season. Wouldn't surprise me to see him on Saturday as well, and try and play his way into the European Championship squad for Scotland, even though he might be second fiddle to a hopeless David Marshall. But it'd be nice for him to get there.
Well, I mean, when you've got Steve Clarke picking the team, well, I suppose that's another good point. We could be here all night with good points, especially when we've got podcaster of the year on it. McLaughlin for Scotland for you, for best goalkeeper in Scotland apart from McGregor.
I would say we've got the two best goalkeepers in Scotland in our books without any question. So, as McGregor's not coming out of international retirement anytime soon, I would be playing McLaughlin if I was Steve Clarke, which I'm glad I'm not. But yeah, I'd be playing McLaughlin. I'd be playing McLaughlin in front of that idiot that he puts in goals, who unfortunately has got the same last name as me. But what can you do?
But you can confirm tonight you're not related.
I can absolutely confirm tonight that we're not related.
And I just need to address this, Andrew. Mark, I always think you're in the US 1950s diner with that Route 66 in the background. Now, that is not mine. That is my missus. This is a shared office, Andrew. Therefore, that's why I've got it up. I've got a picture of David Cooper over there, which I probably really should have behind me. But however, Alan, they did talk
while we're on the subject, if you look behind me, you'll see the biggest canvas you've ever seen in your fucking life on my wall here. Look.
Aye, but see, you've got a missus that allows you to do that. You know, my missus is
this is actually my spare bedroom, which is my daughter's room when she stays here. So,
well, see, you've got a spare room. You've obviously got more money than me. But Alan, Livingston did have a couple of chances, and I think the boy, I want to say Kabaya.
Yeah.
I mean, how he's missed an open goal for 5 yards, I'll never know.
I don't know. I don't know if he's seen it late, if he's been expecting it to 40 him, but he's fluffed these lines, had the chance to get his team back in it, and he's hit the post. The boys came in. I think that was the one time Aribo was kind of caught out a wee bit at left back. I think it was Goldson had to commit to make the challenge. Tavernier came in a wee bit. Other than that, as you say, they hit the crossbar as well, but other than that, Livingston never threatened us. All right, they should have got a goal. The boy hit the post, he should have got a goal, but Livingston never threatened us at all, so there was no real concern there for me throughout the game.
Is that miss of the season, Mulf?
It's got to be up there.
It's got to be, man.
It's certainly got to be up there.
It was horrendous. But actually, before we come to the third goal, I actually want to kind of pick out Aribo's performance tonight. Well, I thought, for somebody who doesn't play left back, I thought he played the role absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I thought he was one of the contenders for man of the match tonight. I thought he played really, really well. And he got up the wing, not as much as you'd expect Tav to. You'd expect Barisic to, but yeah, he did. He played really, really well. He did his job better than I expected him to do at left back, to be fair.
I just don't know, Alan, how one player, in no matter what position, what situation he's in, 9 times out of 10 always comes out with the ball. I don't understand it.
We've seen it a few times now. The ball just seems to stick to his feet at times. Was it building up to the third goal as well?
Aye.
The ball just, I don't know how he does it. I don't think he knows how he does it sometimes.
So.
He's incredible with the ball at his feet sometimes. For me, we've seen that last season, but it wasn't consistent enough. This season, we're starting to see it consistently. And the more we see that, he's obviously made the right choice in coming to Rangers to further his career, and we'll state that with the club that he was at.
I know, and that's the thing, Bob. If Aribo doesn't have that in him, we don't score the third goal. He rides 2 challenges, threw a ball to hit and across, and a lovely finish for Hadji.
Again, like the second goal, it was a really good team goal. A lot of good passing. I mean, Aribo, as you rightly say, Aribo ghosted past a couple of guys. Great ball hit, fantastic ball in from it. And I mean, a lot of people will overlook that, but it was a fantastic ball in from it. And I was delighted to see Hadji score because he deserved the goal tonight. He really did.
I don't know if anybody watching noticed there, but we actually analysed the third goal. I don't know if maybe sports scene should take a wee note of that. That's what you normally do when you're going through a game. But we've got a question, Alan, for Andrew. equates to the kind of the third goal. I don't even know if that makes sense, but you know what I mean. What did you think of Hadji tonight? I thought Hadji, and maybe you can tell me how. I don't know if he was played in a slightly different position, but I thought he was fantastic.
I thought he was as well. Again, you said we were talking briefly before we came on. I thought we were all brilliant tonight. So trying to pick out one or two individuals was hard, but Hadji, we saw him a lot more centrally, especially in the first half. If he makes that position his own next season, plays that number 10 role, there'll not be any player in Scotland better than Yanis Hadji next season if he makes that role his own. And if we get to see that in the Champions League as well, then his stock will only rise, his price will only go up, and when he does eventually leave, I'd like to think we're going to be getting mega bucks for him.
Well, our good friend and the person who was meant to be hosting tonight, Scott Cameron, who told me he couldn't, but yet he can find time to comment. So, I maybe need to have a wee disciplinary hearing with Cammy there. But pleased to see Hadji as an 8. Would like to see more of him.
To be fair, Martin, he messaged me. He's been delayed coming back from Amsterdam.
Oh, right. Is that what it was?
That's
fair enough.
He's been delayed.
That's all right then. But what he's saying is, I need to still have disciplinary talks with him because that's just not good enough. I could be sitting with a beer right now. But he says, look, playing that wee bit deeper, does that suit Hadji more for you?
I think it's not, yes, sitting there, but also the fact he's got 2 targets in front of him because we're effectively playing 2 up top. He's got one either side of him to go for, rather than him being stuck out wide and only having one way to go with the ball. He's got a lot more, which makes his task a bit better for his disc. Because sometimes his distributions don't the best because he's crowded out, he runs out of ideas. But when they're closing him down, when he's more central like he was tonight, they can't just close him down on one side because he'll just go the other way. So, I mean, as Alan said, if he makes that position his own, it can only do us good for next season. It can only make us a better team, and that's quite a frightening thought, to be fair.
Well, in saying that, Alan, Cubby Cubster, and one day I'm going to get that wrong, and I'm going to say Chubby Chubster. I know for a fact it's going to happen. When Hadji plays, the team ticks, and he played tonight. Look, I kind of feel for like maybe the start of the season onwards, probably from Hadji's join, to be fair. He's got a lot of criticism for his performances, and I've never thought it was fair. I think he's a fantastic player. He never hides. He always tries things. Sometimes it doesn't work, but he never, ever hides. And like what Cubby Cubster's saying there, when he's playing well, when he's ticking, the team ticks.
I've got to agree. I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism as well. I like him. I like him every time he plays. He's not always played this season. He's not always played in the big games, which means we can play without him because we've won big games without him. But when he's in the team, when he's on form, and the same could be said for Ryan Kent and Alfredo Morelos, when they play, Rangers tick, Rangers win. So it's trying to get more of that out of them going into next season. Hopefully the 3 of them will be there next season. But see if we can get out the 3 of them next season all season. As Rolf says, it's frightening. It's frightening how good we could be.
I just want to show you something, right, before you come in, Wolf. And I want you to look at this and understand that it was shocking that I never received one single vote for Podcaster of the Year. Andrew, great point, Martin. What'd you make of that? Well, fantastic point by myself.
That's somebody else that needs drug tested.
I know, but just finally on the game.
Martin, all I was going to say is what probably for me goes against Yanis Hadji starting all the time is he's a bloody good substitute. Mm-hmm. When he comes on, he gets into the game straight away. You sometimes get subs that need 10, 15 minutes to get into a game, but the management team have obviously realised if they're sort of undecided about who to start with, they can leave him on the bench and bring him on with maybe half an hour to go because he'll get straight into the game. Mm-hmm. So that probably doesn't do him any favours. But if they're going to be playing the system like we played tonight, he's absolutely got to be an absolute stick on to play in that kind of role he played in tonight, the more central role.
And can I just say, Jedi Bob in the comments, that's something that we'll discuss on a podcast. I'm not going to bring that up on a live reaction because otherwise we'll be here all night and you've got no idea how aggressive Wolf is if this runs on too long, honest to God. But Alan, Roof is the only one who struggled for me. That's for CGM. Is that fair?
He'd never seen as much of the ball as he would have liked, but I thought he's worked great. he worked well. The guy said it in commentary and Rangers TV as well that he's worked great with superb. We've done a lot of running, dragged players into positions that they didn't want to be in defensively. So but I don't think it's fair to say that he struggled tonight, but we've seen him play better, and he got his start of the day. This was his reward for his 2 goals against Celtic. He was getting a start of the day and possibly getting a start on Saturday. But I think struggle's a bit unfair. I thought he played well enough for what we were expecting him today.
Well, maybe is that fair then, Wolf? Does Roof maybe come with the kind of same thing that Hadji came with, where all he's off the ball running just gets tossed to one side if he doesn't perform well in front of goal? Is that the kind of stick he's going to be tarred with?
Yeah, probably. As I said earlier, we're quite a hard bunch to please. The Rangers support, we don't always see what happens off the ball. It's all what they're doing with the ball. It's not everything else. But I mean, if you're looking at that game tonight and you're looking at everybody's individual performance, and the most disappointing performance for us was Kemar Roof, we played bloody well tonight. Really, if that's the way you're looking at it. I mean, he maybe wasn't as involved as he could have been. But as you rightly say, he did an awful lot of good stuff off the ball. I think he struggled a little bit with the pitch, if I'm honest. But he'll not be used to playing on absolute car crash pitches like that.
He's had some bad injuries as well, so he might have been a wee bit cautious on a pitch like that. So.
That's true. That's very true. For anybody watching, by the way, on YouTube, and you haven't subscribed, why not? It's free. Hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitter, retweet. If you're watching on Facebook, like and share. I think it is. I'm terrible with Facebook. But look, Alan, that's a 3-0 win away at a difficult place to go. We're 1 game away now from going through an undefeated league season. How big is that for Gerrard and the team and the fans and everybody?
I don't think we can put it into words, to be honest. It's to win the league, just to win the league is massive, and we can't put any words how important that is. It's all we have focused on ever since Gerrard came in. Before Gerrard, we had false dawn after false dawn. Something felt different about this when he came in 3 years ago. We've got our rewards for sticking with him. It would have been easy last season, especially after the Hamilton game, to say, do you know what, we're going to go in a different direction. But we stuck with him. We gave him time. We gave him money, and we're getting a reward. You can't put any words how big it is for Gerrard and for the club.
Massive. And Wolf, just to finish off the point, to win the league this season was incredible. If you look at the past, all the shit we've went through, all the nonsense we've had to go through just to get that league again. We've seen the reaction pod when it was announced we'd won the league. Just the emotion. So see, just if we could go that final game and go undefeated throughout a league campaign, it would just be magnificent, would it not?
It would be some achievement. I mean, if you consider that just before the lockdown end, it was the end of February last year when Hamilton beat us at Ibrox. That was probably as low as I've been since we came back into the top league, other than getting scudded in the kind of early days of being back up. That was horrendous. Didn't know where we were going. Listening to the manager's post-match reaction after that, I thought he was going to walk. I honestly thought after that he was off, because he sounded like he didn't know what to do from there. And to turn it around the way that the management team have turned it around, to win the league was fantastic. It was something that I always thought we could do, but to win it in March is just incredible. And that Michael made a great point there. He will occupy a huge place now in history. He's got us our dignity back as a football club. We've got our dignity back. It's Steven Gerrard, Gary McAllister, all the backroom team, Tom Culshaw, all those guys, backed by a board who have given them time. I mean, I've said it time and time again. Got to give the board a lot of credit, because when Mr. Gerrard came in, he said, "Look, I can't do this straight away. I need time." They've given him time. The support have given him time, and we're not notorious for that, And he's delivered it. A wee couple along the way would have been nice, but he's delivered. I mean, Saturday's going to be huge. And I mean, anybody that sees me on Saturday, I'm not even going to apologise for the fact I'll be greeting Little because I'll absolutely guarantee I'll be greeting Little, because I'm filling up right now, because it just means so much after where we've been.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've been to hell and back, and we're now back where we belong. We just need to push on from here. And I fully believe that the management team we've got in place are the guys to push us on from here. Because winning the league's one thing, retaining it's something completely different. We have to go on and retain this league and win at least one cup along the way. Another year on in the Champions League. Not sure where the Champions League final is next year, but I'm sure we'll all be there.
We'll have our tickets booked. You know what? That's a fantastic point. Actually, we've had RFC 55. Oh, that's the wrong one. We've had RFC 55. Any thoughts on King? And CGM saying good to see King make his league debut. Something I actually forgot about and I should have mentioned, Alan. Young boy coming through the academy. We're obviously partnered with the Rangers Pools and Colin Stewart at the RYDC. So it's fantastic to see young players coming through, because I think that's what every Rangers fan wants now. It's all well, you can go and spend 3, 4, 5 million, but we want to see more McCrory's, Middletons, Kings. We want to start seeing a conveyor belt of young talent coming through.
It's a fairy tale story, isn't it? These young players coming through the youth ranks, living our dream, really. Given Gerrard's background, you know, coming through Liverpool's youth team, becoming a Liverpool legend, coaching the youth there, you know, he's keen to see players promoted and see young guys like King and Nathan Patterson, and it was Kieran Dixon got his debut earlier in this season as well. To see guys like that coming into the first team, you know, it's a great sign for our future, and hopefully we can start to produce more, especially now we've got the Colts team in the Lowland League. Hopefully we'll start to see more players coming through. And for what I hear, there's quite a few of the young lads that are out on loan, particularly the Championship, are doing quite well. So hopefully they'll come back and stake a place for their place in the first team next season.
And actually on that, one of them's James Maxwell, who William Irwin of the RFC Youth Update's done a fantastic interview with young James, and it's on our YouTube channel. So if you fancy having a wee swatch at that, just head into the channel and you can watch that exclusive interview. And Wilf, Leon King is, I mean, William spoke to us about him a few times. He's meant to be, you know, the next up and coming player, and it was just great to see him get some minutes.
Yes, it was great. I mean, I was hoping we get the third goal a bit earlier, and you know, and bring him on so he could get a decent bit of game time. And 5 minutes isn't it, really? You can't really judge a guy on 5 minutes, but it's great to see him coming through. You know, and as Alan says, you know, you've got Patterson, you've had guys like Kai Kennedy in and around the first team before they're going out on loan. You've got James Maxwell. I mean, you've got to remember that 6 years ago, when Dave King and the Three Bears came in, we didn't have a youth system. Mm-hmm. We had a youth academy, but it was only a building. It was just a name. There was no coaches. There was just nothing. So it takes that length of time to get players through the system, and they're starting to come through now. And we're not going to get a class of '92 like Man U had with 6 or 7.
No, that was a freak.
First team regulars coming in. That's pie in the sky stuff. Mm-hmm. But if we can get one every couple of seasons, and then, you know, ones that don't quite make the grade with us, they'll go away and have a good football career somewhere. Glenn Middleton, like you mentioned, great example. I don't think he's going to make it with us, but he's going to make it. He's going to be a player at a decent level, and he'll bring us in money along the way, because we'll sell on probably with a decent sell-on clause. So the academy's now self-sustaining, so that'll attract better players to us, because they can see if they don't make it with us, they'll get a chance with us. If it doesn't quite work out, they'll go somewhere decent, you know. And it just goes round and round in circles, and it's taking time to build it, but it's going the right way, and it's fantastic to see guys like Leon King, Nathan Patterson getting in the first team, and it can only be good for the future of the club.
No, absolutely. And look, this is our last live reaction of the season. I think you can probably all guess why we won't be doing one after the Aberdeen game. I don't think there'll be anybody available to do one. So look, just a big thank you for everybody at Rangers Rabble. We only started this in November. You know, the views we've been getting, the responses, the comments, everything's been absolutely phenomenal, because there's loads of phenomenal Rangers content out there. We will still have our 2 weekly podcast. That won't change, because you need something to listen to when there's no football on, don't you? So I'm pretty sure between us we can come up with some absolute nonsense to talk about. But Wilf, super podder, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Martin.
Alan, for your first appearance. And I should actually say, Alan, you've got some fantastic blogs on the website, the brand new website, rangersrabble.co.uk, and during the post-season, I'm sure you'll be writing some more.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a few things up my sleeve that I'm going to be producing for the website, and thanks for having me in the pod.
No problem. What was that? I just seen at CGM, I Am Free, and Andrew Bluebell's great podcast, boys, going from strength to strength. I'm going from fatter to fatter. Can't wait for Saturday. Great pause, lads, for Cubby Cup stuff. So listen, thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back with the live reactions at the start of next season, but we will still have all our usual podcasts out. So stay subscribed, and you'll see some more content. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll speak to you very, very soon.